Spain just put on a tactical masterclass that the numbers say was one of the most dominant World Cup final performances ever recorded. 1.94 XG to 0.22. 20 shots to 2. Argentina, the reigning world champions, managed just one shot on target in 120 minutes. Let me say that again. Emiliano Martínez made 11 saves with a 9.7 match rating, and Argentina still only created 0.22 expected goals. This wasn't just a win, this was a statement. This was Spain showing the world that their 2010 triumph wasn't a one-off, and doing it by absolutely suffocating the team everyone thought was destined for back-to-back titles. Let's break down exactly how La Roja turned the World Cup final into a training ground exercise. Going into this final at MetLife Stadium, the tactical setup was fascinating. Luis de la Fuente stuck with his trusted 4-2-3-1, Rodri and Fabian Ruiz as the double pivot, Lamine Yamal, Dani Olmo and Alex Baena supporting Mikel Oyarzabal up top. The plan was clear: dominate possession, stretch Argentina wide and exploit the half spaces with those technically gifted 10s. Scaloni countered with a 4-4-2, likely expecting to sit compact, absorb pressure and hit on the break with Messi and Julian Alvarez. On paper, it made sense. Argentina's tournament XG suggested they were clinical on limited chances, grinding out results through defensive solidity and moments of Messi magic. But here's the thing, Spain's system all tournament had been suffocating teams. 65% possession on average, creating high-quality chances through positional superiority. The question was, could Argentina's mid-block hold up against the technical quality Spain could deploy? Spoiler alert, it absolutely could not. The first 45 minutes told you everything about how this match would unfold. Spain came out and immediately established territorial dominance. Look at Rodri's performance in that opening half. His positioning between Argentina's lines was immaculate, constantly available as the release valve. He completed 4 tackles before halftime, winning back possession high up the pitch and recycling attacks. Pedri, who came off at 58 minutes with a 7.5 rating and 4 key passes, was absolutely running the show from central midfield. 4 key passes in just under an hour is elite quarterbacking. Meanwhile, Argentina's 4-4-2 mid-block was getting pulled apart. The width from Pedro Porro and Marc Cucurella forced Argentina narrow, then Yamal and Baena would drift inside into the pockets. Scaloni's boys couldn't get near the ball. 35% possession for the entire match tells the story, but in that first half, it felt even more one-sided. Messi, to his credit, was trying to drop deep to get involved. But with De Paul and Enzo Fernández constantly chasing Spanish shadows, there was no platform to launch attacks. The XG at halftime must have been heavily in Spain's favour already. They were creating chances from everywhere, wide areas, central penetrations, Porro overlaps, and yet, somehow, it remained 0-0. Why? Because Emiliano Martínez was playing out of his mind. That 9.7 rating didn't come from nowhere. Multiple point-blank saves, reading the play before Spain's attackers even knew what they wanted to do. The frustration was palpable, but Spain's tactical superiority was already undeniable. The second half and extra time periods became a war of attrition, and this is where Spain's depth and tactical flexibility won it. Luis de la Fuente made crucial changes. Ferran Torres came on at 58 minutes for Pedri, and that freshness in attack kept Argentina's defenders from settling. Torres would eventually score the winner in the 106th minute, but his impact was immediate, constantly threatening the channels. Rodri went off at 99 minutes after an absolute masterclass performance, replaced by Zubimendi to shore things up. But here's where it gets interesting tactically. Argentina started committing more bodies forward out of desperation, and you could see it in the yellow cards piling up. Lisandro Martinez on a yellow at 41 minutes. Then Paredes at 52. Enzo at 82. By the time Enzo got his second yellow and was sent off at 93 minutes, Argentina were completely unraveling. 6 yellow cards and a red in a World Cup final tells you everything about a team that had no answers tactically and resorted to stopping Spain the only way they could, through fouls. 25 fouls to Spain's 21, but the context matters. Spain's fouls were mostly tactical, stopping counter-attacks. Argentina's were desperation, trying to break up possession sequences they couldn't legally defend. And through all of this, Spain just kept coming. 12 shots on target, 9 shots from inside the box, 1.94 XG. They were creating chances at will, while Argentina could barely get out of their own half. Let's talk about the 3 players who defined this final. First, Pau Cubarsí with an 8.3 rating at just 20 years old in his first World Cup final. The Roma centre-back was absolutely immense, reading every long ball Argentina tried, winning aerial duels and playing out from the back with complete composure. His partnership with Laporte, who also had a 7.0 rating, gave Spain the foundation to play their possession game without fear. Second, Rodri. The Manchester City midfielder is quite simply the best defensive midfielder on the planet right now, and this performance cemented it. 4 tackles, 2 key passes, and an 8.3 rating over 99 minutes. His ability to break up play, recycle possession, and dictate tempo from deep was the engine room that made everything work. Every Spanish attack seemed to flow through him. And third, we have to talk about the contradiction of this match. Emiliano Martínez with a 9.7 rating in a losing effort. 11 saves. Read that again. 11 saves in a World Cup final, and your team still loses 1-0. That tells you everything about the territorial dominance Spain enjoyed. Martínez kept Argentina in the match for 106 minutes through sheer brilliance. But no goalkeeper on earth could have held out forever against that relentless pressure. It's tragic for him personally, but it's also the ultimate proof of Spain's tactical superiority. Here's my definitive tactical verdict on this World Cup final. Spain didn't just win, they exposed the limitations of Argentina's defensive approach against elite possession-based teams. That 1.94 to 0.22 XG differential is one of the most lopsided in World Cup final history. Spain completed 762 accurate passes to Argentina's 357. They had 89% pass accuracy to Argentina's 77%. They created 20 shots to Argentina's 2. This wasn't a close match that Spain nicked with a late goal. This was a systematic dismantling that somehow only resulted in a 1-0 scoreline because of one goalkeeper's heroics. What this proves is that Spain's model, technical superiority, positional play, and relentless pressure, is back at the pinnacle of international football. They won Euro 2024, and now they've won the World Cup with essentially the same blueprint. Meanwhile, Argentina's approach, which had worked brilliantly through the tournament, finally met a team they couldn't absorb pressure against. Messi, with a 7.3 rating, tried everything he could, but he touched the ball in dangerous areas, maybe a handful of times all match. That's not on him, that's on Spain's tactical setup, giving him absolutely no space to operate. This result proves that when executed at the highest level, possession football still wins the biggest prizes. Here's my hot take, and I know this will ruffle feathers. Lionel Messi's World Cup final performance, while not bad at a 7.3 rating, exposed that he's no longer the player who can single-handedly drag a team through matches where they're completely outplayed. In 2014, he could. In 2022, he could. But in 2026, with Spain controlling 65% of possession and Argentina creating just 0.22 XG, Messi couldn't find a way to impact the match. Yes, the service was non-existent. Yes, the tactics hamstrung him. But the all-time greats find a way. And tonight, he couldn't. That's not disrespect. That's just the reality of a 39-year-old legend facing a peak Spain team that had answers for everything Argentina tried. And frankly, the 6 yellow cards and red card for Argentina suggests they knew it too. When you can't match a team technically or tactically, you resort to the dark arts, and it still wasn't enough. What a way to end this World Cup! Spain are champions of the world for the 2nd time, and they did it with a performance that will be studied in coaching seminars for years. If you enjoyed this tactical breakdown, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and drop a comment with your player of the match. Was it Cubarsí, Rodri, or the tragic hero Dibu Martínez? Let's argue about it. See you in the next one.